What is going on, guys? It's Modded Warfare here. Welcome back to another PS4 tutorial. So this is the follow-up to a follow-up video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to create your own trainer using C# to create your own native app for Windows that will remotely connect to your PS4 to apply the cheats from the trainer. So back in episode 13 of PS4 Jailbreak tutorials, I showed you guys how to find and create your own cheats in your PS4 games. Using PS4 Reaper tool to find, the memory addresses of where your cheats are located and how to NOP those memory addresses to, apply cheats to the game. So I showed you guys that, and then I showed you how to kind of turn those cheats into a trainer using a web trainer template, which people could do without any programming experience. But a lot of you guys wanted me to cover how to actually make a tool from scratch, like an actual native app for Windows in C#. So that's what I'm going to do here in this video. And if you're wondering what's up with the PS4 here, this is a custom theme I made to try and make it seem like the PS5 a little bit, but I'll be covering that in another video. So what we're going to be doing here is, first of all, we're going to go onto our internet browser and load up our exploit page, whichever one you're using. So I'm still using caro218.ir. So I'm going to go onto this exploit host. Okay, and then we're going to load up the latest jailbreak. And we're going to load Gold Hen or Mira in order to run your fake package files, and then run the PS4 Debug payload, which is the payload that we need in order to be able to connect the trainer that we're going to create. We're going to be using the PS4 Debug library, so we need to run the PS4 Debug payload and wait for that to load up successfully, and obviously make sure you're connected to your network on your jailbroken PS4. So once that's done, we can then press the middle button on our PS4, run the game that we're creating the trainer for. So if we're going to use Days Gone here as an example. Okay, so we've got the game loaded up here, so we'll switch back over to the computer. There's a few things you need to note first of all. So I've got this text document that has everything noted down, all of the cheats that we're going to add to our trainer. So first of all, if we go ahead and run the PS4 Games Reaper tool, which was the tool I used in episode 13 to find the cheats for the game in the first place. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this to my PS4 real quick. And then just grab the unlimited ammo address, throw it in here, and go to the disassembler just to show you. So there's a few things you need to note down for creating a trainer. You need to know your eboot.bin, your process name, which is eboot.bin. And then you're also going to want to know the address, obviously, of the actual cheat itself. So make sure you note down the address. So this is our value for unlimited ammo. And we NOPed it in order to give ourselves unlimited ammo, which set it to 90, 90, 90, because it's a 3-byte value. So 3 90s to NOP it. And we also want to note down the default value, which as you can see here is 894760, which I have noted down here, 894760. So you want to do that with all of your mods so that we can toggle them on and off by NOPing the value to turn the mod on and then setting it back to the default value to turn the mod off. It may also be a good idea to note down your title ID of your game up here and your version number as well. So as you can see, I've got that stuff noted down here. So once you have that, we can go ahead and detach that and start creating our trainer. So we're going to go ahead and open Visual Studio, whichever version of Visual Studio you have. We'll create a new project. And then in the new project, we're going to make sure it's a Visual C# application and that it's a Windows Form application that we're creating. And then we're going to go ahead and call this one Trainer Tutorial. And we'll create the project. And this will create our standard form. So we're going to kind of change a few things in here. We're going to change the text so it's just called, I don't know, Trainer, or I guess Days Gone Trainer for the title. And we'll just kind of make that wider. And then we'll go ahead and change it so that we cannot maximize the box. And we also want to change the form border style to fixed single so that you can't resize it and mess the formatting up. And then finally, we'll also do show icon false, just like that. So there's going to be a few kind of issues with this. First of all, because I'm zoomed in by 150%, we're going to get DPI scaling issues where some of the toolbox items are not really going to be sized correctly, and it might look a little bit weird. Not much I can really do about that just now. Also, I'm not using any kind of plugins like DevExpress or, I don't know, .NET Bar or anything that kind of gives you more toolbox items and allows you to create a more modern looking user interface. So it's going to look a bit plain at the moment, but I'm just doing that so that everybody can follow this without having to install a bunch of additional plugins. So yeah, that's why this is going to look kind of plain. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and create our UI. So let's go ahead and create a group box first. And this will contain all the stuff for connecting to the console. So we'll change the text of this group box to connect to PS4. And that'll create it right there. Then we'll go ahead and add a text box for the IP address, because we want to be able to type in our IP address to connect to the PS4. We'll also maybe just change the size a little bit and make this one size bigger, just like that. And then we're going to call this IPADDR, so IPADDR for IP address. And we'll also hard code in our IP address in here, just like this. That way you don't have to type it in every single time when you're debugging and testing. So next we're going to go ahead and add a button, which is going to be our connect button to connect us to the console. So we'll go ahead and add that in there, and we'll just change the text to connect. And we'll also change the name of the button to connect button. Okay, so that's that. We'll just go ahead and copy and paste it and create another group box, and I'll just get rid of the stuff inside here. So this group box will be for our cheats, so we'll call this one cheats, and then we'll add a checkbox. So checkboxes, you know, will be used to toggle the mods on and off, just like the web trainer. So we'll call this one INF ammo for the text, for infinite ammo, and we'll also call the name of this toolbox item ammo check for our ammo checkbox. And then finally, I guess we'll add a label, just a kind of status label to show the user, you know, if things have connected successfully. It will say stuff like trainer attached and stuff like that. So it's our status label. So I'll call it status. And then we'll go down and change the text to status, not attached, because by default, when you run the program, it's not going to be connected. So yeah, there we go. So if we run this, like I say, the UI is probably going to look a bit broken, as you can see right there. So I'm going to have to make this slightly bigger. Okay, so we'll extend this out a little bit. And same with this one. Maybe make the buttons slightly bigger. And we'll make this text box bigger. And then that should hopefully look okay, I suppose. Yep, that'll do. Okay, so we've got it working. We've got the UI working. So the next thing we need to do is start creating the code. So if we double click on the connect button to create the on-click method for the button, and we'll zoom in here. So first thing you need to do is add the PS4 Debug library. So right here, I've got it, as you can see. So you have the PS4 Debug payload that you run on the PS4, and then you have the DLL file, which is the library that you import into your project in order to be able to, you know, access all of the functions to connect to the PS4 and read and write memory and all the additional functions and features that libdebug has. So what we're going to do is just add that in by right-clicking on references and adding it as a reference. So when we add reference, we go to browse, and then we select our libdebug.dll, we add it in, we click OK, and as you can see, that adds it in right there. So once it's added, we can then add it to the code by saying that we're using libdebug up at the top, and now we should be able to access all of the features that libdebug has, or PS4 Debug has. So first thing we're going to do is create a new global variable called PS4 Debug, and I'm just going to call it PS4, and then we're going to create a integer which is going to be PID for our process ID. So when we connect to our PS4, we don't just have to connect, we also have to find the process ID of the process that we're wanting to edit in memory. So in this case, it's the eboot.bin. So we need to get the process ID of the eboot.bin. So the first thing we need to do is establish a connection to the PS4, which we can do by doing PS4 equals new PS4 debug. And then in brackets, we're going to put in our IPADDR .text box. So IPADDR.text. So our IP address will be passed in here to connect to the PS4 with, and then we'll do PS4.connect underneath, and that connects us to our PS4. Once we're connected, we need to find the process ID. So we're going to loop through all of the process names until we find one that matches eboot.bin, And then once we find it, we'll add that process ID of the eboot.bin to this process ID variable. So we're just going to use a for each loop. So we'll do for each libdebug.process, and I'll just call it process in PS4.getProcessList.processes. So that loops through all the processes, and then we'll say if process.name is going to be equal to the process name that we're looking for, eboot.bin, then in that case, we will say that the process ID will equal process.processID. And then we can break out of the loop once we found the correct process name. So that will get us our process ID. And I suppose additionally, once we've connected successfully and we've got our process ID, we can then update our status label. So status.text equals status, and we'll say trainer attached. And there we go. So that's our connect method. So next we need to actually apply a cheat. So let's try unlimited ammo. So we're going to double click the unlimited ammo checkbox. And then I'll try and just make this kind of as readable as possible, even though this is not really how I would normally code it. But, you know, just for the sake of it being as readable as possible, we'll go ahead and do it this way. So I'll create a byte array, which is going to be called enable value, which is going to equal 0x90, 0x90, 0x90. So that's our NOP right there. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then we'll also have a disable value, which is going to be our value. In fact, let's just call it our default value, which is going to be our 89, 47, 60, which is our default value to turn the mod off. As you can see right here, 89, 47, 60 to turn unlimited ammo off. And then we just set those bytes to 90 to turn unlimited ammo on. So once we have that, we can then say if our ammo checkbox is checked, so .checked, then we're going to run the command to actually write our NOP into memory, into our memory address. So to do that, we're going to do ps4.writeMemory. And then in here, we're going to pass it in our process ID. And then as you can see, it takes in the address and then the values. So the address is going to be our unlimited ammo address right here. So we'll just do 0x and paste it in, and then comma, and then our enable value. And that is it. That will NOP those values in memory at that address and give us our unlimited ammo. And then when we uncheck the checkbox, so if we do else, so everything in the else statement will happen when the checkbox is not checked. So when we uncheck the checkbox, we want to write our default values back again, and that will disable unlimited ammo. So there we go. That's it. So that should now work. So let's just do another one. Let's do infinite health as well. So we'll just put this one underneath. So you can see how much easier it is just to add another one. So if we do infinite health, and then we go up here and call this one health check. And then if we double click it, creates the method, we can just copy and paste this same code right here. And then there's only a few things we need to change. Obviously, we need to change this to health check. And then we need to change the address as well to our health address. So if we change it here and copy and paste, and then obviously our enable and disable values are going to be different as well. So for health, this is our disable value. So we paste that in, do 0x, 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 just like that. And then that's 8 bytes long, which means we need 8 90s to NOP it. So there's 3, 6, 9, and then we'll take that one away. So we've got 8 90s to NOP it. And there we go. That should be our infinite health working. So let's give this a try. So we'll start the application. We'll go ahead and connect to our PS4. As you can see, it now says trainer attached. Let's do unlimited ammo, infinite health. Get back in the game, fire our weapon and reload. And as you can see, we still have 125 rounds in our assault rifle. So unlimited ammo is indeed working. And then the next thing we're going to do is just try and throw an explosive on the ground. Stand on top. And boom, no damage whatsoever. So let's uncheck infinite health and infinite ammo. And we'll do the same thing. So boom, that took down my health right there. And then finally we'll go ahead and, fire a weapon. Reload. So 120. It's now gone down to 104. So it is working. So enabling and disabling the cheats is working absolutely fine. So there's a few other things you can do, of course. One of the things you can do is actually display a notify message on the PS4 once you've connected, and to show that, a mod has been enabled or disabled. You can actually get a message to show up on the PS4 itself. So in order to do that, all we're going to do is do ps4.notify function, and then we're going to do 222, comma, and then your message. So the message is going to be, let's just say days gone trainer attached. So that'll be our message. And then of course you can do the same thing here when we're actually, setting a value on and off. So this is going to be infinite ammo enabled. And then this is going to be infinite ammo disabled. And then of course we can do the same thing for our health as well. So infinite health enabled and infinite health disabled. So let's give that a try. We'll go ahead and run it and connect to our PS4. And this time, as you can see, Days Gone Trainer attached shows up on the PS4 itself. And then of course we can do unlimited ammo, infinite health, infinite ammo enabled, infinite health enabled, and then let's uncheck them and it should say disabled. As you can see right there, that is indeed working. So yeah, that is essentially it. That is how you can create your own little trainer there. Now, there's a few other kind of optimizations and things we could do to improve this. What I'll do is I'll put this source code in the description as it is here, because I think this is fairly readable. Even though there's a lot of repeated code, it's not done very efficiently, but it is, I think, readable enough. So I'll go ahead and put this in the description along with all of this stuff. So if I just add a region called cheats here, and we'll end region, and we'll go ahead and paste this in right here. And then we'll just go ahead and move this along and comment that out. So yeah, I'll put this in the description like this, so you can have a go at maybe adding some of these other cheats in as well. So that is pretty much that. So just to go over a few other things, there's a few optimizations and stuff we could do to improve this. So firstly, obviously error handling would be useful. So for example, one of the issues right now is that if you go ahead and try to activate a mod before connecting, then you're just going to crash, as you can see right here, null reference exception. So we don't want that to happen. We need to kind of add some try and catch exceptions. So what I'll do is I'll create another function down here, which is just going to be called error message, error MSG. It will take in two strings, the error itself plus the message that we want to send to the user. And in here, I'm going to do a console.writeLine, and it will write the error. And then we'll do a message box.show, and this is going to show the message plus the title of the message box, which is going to be error, and then the buttons, which is going to be an OK button on our message box, and then the message box icon, which is going to be a error icon. And the idea with this is that what we're going to do is we're going to do a try and catch exception on our connect button. So everything inside our connect button, we're going to encapsulate inside this try statement. And then underneath that, we're going to do catch exception and then CE. And then of course, we're going to go ahead and just do error MSG. And we're going to make it take in our error, which is ce.toString. And then we're also going to make it take in our message, which is going to be something like failed to connect to PS4. So what that'll do is when you crash because you try to connect and the connection times out or something, or you're not connected to the internet on your PS4, you try and connect, then it will run this instead, which will just output the error to the console. So if I'm debugging, I can actually see the error message itself. And for the user, it will just display a message box saying that it failed to connect to the PS4. So that's something you can do. You can obviously add try and catch exceptions in here as well. And then another thing you can do just to avoid errors is to kind of disable this entire group box. So group box 2, if you just set the enable flag to false, then go back to your code. And then once you actually connect successfully to your console, you can then say that group box 2 dot enabled equals true. And then when you do that, it basically means that when you run the application, you're not going to be able to accidentally activate a cheat when you're not even connected to the console. Only once you've successfully connected to the console will it allow you to actually, read and write memory. So before we actually end the video, let me just quickly show you guys how I would try and optimize this to make it so that we don't have as much repeated code. What I would probably do, and obviously this is not the most efficient way of doing it, it's just a quick way of doing it. I'm going to just go ahead and do a function called setMemory, which is going to take in the address, the memory address, a byte array for the values that we're taking in, the values that we're setting into that memory address, and then a string for the message, our notify message that's going to show up on the PS4, plus a boolean for is enabled. So if the mod is enabled or disabled, so the checkbox, whether it's been enabled or disabled. So in here, we can do our try and catch to stop it from crashing, instead of having to put a try and catch exception message in every single checkbox function. So we'll do that, and then we'll just run our error message function again, ce.toString for the error, and then our message, which is going to be, I don't know, failed to send command or something. I don't know, something like that. And then, then we're going to do our PS4.WriteMemory function in here, which is going to take in our process ID and our address, and then our values. And then we'll do our PS4.notify message underneath, which is going to take in obviously 222 for the type, and then the message, which is just going to be the string message that we're going to pass in. And in fact, we're also going to add for enable and disable. We're just going to kind of do this where we say our is enabled value question mark enabled and disabled. So it basically means if this boolean is set to true, then the message will say enabled, and if it's set to false, it will say disabled. So we've got that right there. So then we can essentially do all of this on one line now. So instead of writing all of that, so we're going to do set memory, and then we're going to give it our address, which is our unlimited ammo address right here. Then our values, which we're going to do ammo check.checked question mark. And then I'll do a new byte array inside here, which is just going to be 90, 90, 90. And then we'll separate that out and do another one, which is going to be our 89, 47, 60. Just like that. And then we'll give it our message, which is going to be INF ammo. And then our boolean, which again is just our ammo check.checked. And boom, there we go. So that should work. That should be all of this done on one line now instead. And of course, we can do exactly the same thing on this line as well. Just like this. So again, it's exactly the same. We're just doing health instead. So we're passing in our health, and we're doing health check in here. So health check, this will be infinite health. And the only other thing is our enable and disable values, which, if you remember, for health was 8 bytes long. And our disable value, which is this one right here. Just like that. And then that should be good as well. So let's give this a try now. So if we run this, connected, infinite ammo, infinite health, we'll put them both on. And as you can see, 104 rounds, reload, and it is indeed working. Our ammo's not going down. I'm sure infinite health will be the same. We'll turn unlimited ammo off and infinite health off. And as you can see, the ammo is now going back down, and we're successfully getting our enabled and disabled messages working as well. So that's just a way to kind of optimize that so that we're just doing it on one line. Plus we have the error checking. So if something crashes when we enable or disable the checkbox, it will just give us our error message, so we know what's going on. So yeah, that's essentially it. Now, if you want to actually release your trainer or give it to somebody to actually use it, obviously you're not going to be running it in a debugger. So what you can do is just go to build solution to build the latest copy of it, and then right click on the project and go to open folder in File Explorer. And then once you're in here, you can go to bin, debug, and then as you can see, it's right here. So all we have to do to release this is, create a new folder called, I don't know, trainer or something. Then you want to take your exe, your executable, plus any DLL files in this folder as well, and copy them in. And then that should work, no problem. So I should be able to just run the exe to open the tool. As you can see, I can connect, and as you can see, Days Gone trainer attached, infinite ammo, enable, disable. That's all working. So yeah, since that works, you can then just go ahead and send to compressed zip folder, and that will turn it into a zip file. And then you can upload that to Mediafire, mega.nz or whatever, send the link to somebody, and somebody else can now use your trainer that you've made. So that's essentially it, guys. I know I was talking pretty fast there. It's just trying to get as much done as possible. It's just that it takes a long time to kind of do these coding videos. Even when I try and talk as fast as possible, like I never manage to get through everything. There's other things I could have shown you, like how to tell, like how to grab your title ID in game version so that you can check to make sure that when the trainer is connecting, that the person is actually running the correct version of the game that the trainer is made for, and stuff like that. But again, there's just not enough time to do it in a single video without it being way over half an hour long. So I mean, yeah, if you guys want more tutorials like this for me to go into more depth, then definitely let me know. So yeah, we just barely scratched the surface on what PS4 Debug is actually capable of. You can see if I type in PS4 dot here, you can see all these other functions that are within PS4 Debug. You can even like call functions remotely and do lots of other crazy stuff. So yeah, we really just scratched the surface there. But obviously, these videos, these coding videos always go really, really long. Even when I'm trying to be as fast as possible and condense it as much as possible, they're always really long, and they don't get much views, which is why I don't upload these very often. But if you guys really do want more, then please sound off in the comments. That's the way I know that it's definitely worth my time doing these videos, because otherwise, since they don't get many views and they take forever to upload because they're always so much longer than regular videos, that I tend not to really do these too often. But if you guys really want them, then let me know in the comments, and I will definitely make more for you guys. So anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed the video or found the information useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And once again, I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video.